How you doing? It's AfroEconomics time. We're talking about debt freedom part two. Takes a little bit of time to get debt free. Yes, indeed. But I thought we'd talk about it again. Yes, indeed. I love it. Yes, indeed. Thank you. I see you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We're going to make sure. Let me get everybody set. Get the chat together. Technology is our friend. I'm gonna talk nice to it. I'm gonna put the phone number in there too, because I'm curious that we will one day get a call in. Last time I had the phone at the wrong place. The name of this song is Let's Go. I love it. 7926. That's 1-844 JB Bryan. But I put the numbers in here. So that will go to everything. It takes a minute for this technology to get straight. I was like 10 minutes just trying to get logged on. And only when you're like, I only got 10 minutes. Any other time when you're 30 minutes standing there, everything goes right. So the moral of that story is don't rush when you want to make sure you get it right so that you can take your time, because our margin of error increases when we rush. I want to talk about sacrifice and how it relates, really into debt freedom. No, because a lot of debt and debt freedom and buying into the mentality that exists now, or the way the culture that we have of everybody has to be in debt. And no, it seems like we used to have a culture where it was delayed gratification was rewarded. People would say like, "Oh, my parents saved up and they saved money, and my father built the house brick by brick." You remember that, Reverend Bozeman? And it was, you know, you put things off, and like the Habitat for Humanity now is seen as something, that's done for poor people. But that was like regular behavior at a time where people will get together and help people accomplish something, help them build, help them paint, because they knew that the reality was that, you just couldn't afford it to just do it by yourself and have to hire all that labor and have to do that. So if you help me build, then I help you build. And then we accomplish great things. Now, like, how much do we need, to I don't know. If do you desire that? Like, give me a message of, do you encourage it? Do you desire more teamwork? Do you help people? you know, like, do you encourage each other? Like, do you have a positive network? What are the people around you working on? Are y'all working on anything? Or do you just work? No, like the things. That's right, Mr. Walker. Mr. Walker said yes. Like the things that we could accomplish if we have like a team effort, how much that would be, could be done. Like the I mean, we I can only imagine how great, Afroeconomics would be if I just had like 10, brothers like Reverend Bozeman and Mr. Walker who were about building up everybody around them. The one thing about you and Mr. Walker that y'all have in common is that, like, you know, everything that you post, everything that I mean, I'm talking about both of you. Like, when you post, it's about trying to help someone else. Mr. Walker is always is very about fitness and about not being materialistic and constantly, but that I think that somehow, by doing the right thing, that you start bringing that, you know what I mean, to you, and then all of
Yeah, you combine your energies
yeah,
together to make them all work as a collective.
amen. But it shouldn't be that hard. No, we shouldn't have to be so grown. Like it should start, you know,
Well, I think
w-
it's
you know,
starting to happen. We're overcoming all these hundreds of years of social engineering that pitted us against each other and told us not to trust anyone other than the white man. So we've been working that off, and we can I can see it, the consciousness elevating among us uh, pretty strongly. Yours is the tip of the arrow going through and pulling the community together, but
mm,
it's happening. There
yeah,
is a definite elevation going on.
you know, I thank you. I appreciate that, but it's so lonely.
Yeah, it
And
is.
I don't think that people know how lonely it must have been to be Malcolm X.
Mm-hmm.
How lonely it must have been to be Martin Luther King. And like when I feel the loneliest, like I think about them. You know how hard that was. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know that if I wasn't trying to accomplish the things that I'm trying to accomplish to help other people, Barbara, I wouldn't have failed relationships. It'd be a lot easier to have a
Yeah,
relationship if the people you were trying to help were very, very narrow, you know, and it's hard because, we're not socialized to help one another,
yeah,
and why have all of us that I'm looking at right now been through a divorce in our plight, one or two, in our plight to help the world, make the world a better place. Now, I
yeah.
don't,
There's a price to be paid.
amen, to have this bigger vision that doesn't pay. Because that bigger vision often pulls you away from materialism.
Mm-hmm.
It pulls you away from that basic job. And you're thinking about everything that you do and its generational impact. And then all of a sudden, you don't want to go into debt. You don't want to do all the things that a regular job will allow you to do. And then you need to have a family that really supports that. And the likelihood of that, unfortunately, is very slim, especially for a woman. But I've seen men go through that too. No, where their wife is like, "What do you mean debt free? I want this new house now." What do you mean debt free? We shouldn't be driving this old car. It's already 3 years old. No. And then
Yeah,
go through that. I notice the ability to attract when you're materialistic. If what I was doing was more shallow and it was more about, spin, spin, spitch, rich, rich, rich. Don't worry about your health. Get it, get it, get it. then that and I think until we you know can get the majority of us, and it's like, what type of pain does a person have to go through before they realize the importance of justice and freedom?
Mm.
Because if you are caught up in debt and you can't eat because your employer will get mad if you stand up for an injustice against a customer, and you can't stand up for the customer because you have so much debt, or you think your spouse is going to break up with you because here you are, you're a loser, you're out there standing up. Like, there's this movie called Men and Monsters. I think it's on HBO, and it's about values that men choose. There has like some men that make a sacrifice. Like, this one guy recorded as a Latino man, recorded a black man getting shot, and he basically lost his family because he did that recording. And they made up an arrest and planted him with evidence. And the I See Us Frozen. Do y'all see Us Frozen? I don't know. We'll come back. You might have seen me regular the whole time, but
No, you've been
you
okay.
we're talking about something powerful when the thing freezes me.
Okay.
So, I mean, I was like frozen. I was like, please stay focused, JV. But the movie, was just talking about, so the young man, they came in that recorded it. They came and arrested him. He loved the mother of his child. He had another child on the way. It's a beauty. Y'all need to look at that. Men Are Monsters. And then there's a black cop in it, and the black cop basically becomes a monster, and he justifies it because, like, I got to take care of my family. I got to, make this money. I got to secure my job. And that's kind of become the commonplace. I remember when I started, my business, and I was told by, black people ahead of me in financial services that you need to stop thinking about black people because they don't have any money. And that's what they would tell me. You're not going to make money at this if you keep thinking about these black people. And this is black people. And I know that they meant that with goodness in their heart. They wanted to help me not give up, because they did not think that I would do this for 30 years. That's my 30th year in financial services, helping black people. It's like, there's no way that she's going to do this for 30 years, realizing that she can make so much more money if she did it another way. And I told her
Yes.
the story about when I called the state, and the state was about, what type of programs do you have available for, minority businesses and blah, blah, blah. And they said, we have money for businesses that focus on women and women programs. But
Mm.
white lady was nice and everything, but she said, but that black stuff you're doing, we really have no money for that.
Yeah,
And
for
I said, I understand. She said, couldn't you just switch it, like, and focus on women? And I said, well, I focus on women and men, both black. No. And she said, mm-mm, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm not going to be able to help you with that.
wow.
And I don't think like that our people know the sacrifice that when we choose to focus on helping us, the sacrifice that's involved. Like this, a lady I'm volunteering to help because her son is disabled and they exploited him. Two lawyers exploited him, took their money, turned them over to a trust, and the trust won't take their calls, won't do anything. And every day. I think I've told y'all, like for 30 days, we've been calling that place. So they finally called us back and they said that meeting that you have scheduled for tomorrow, well, we're not going to do that unless you pay us $200. So the mother called me and she said, I don't know what to do. I said, I didn't see your text. Call me back. I said, call him. Let's do it. So she called the lady back, and she put the lady on the phone, and I said, hi, this is her registered investment advisor, and we're calling to see why the victim's money is down 20%, and you all are taking fees out every month. And you're telling me that you can't talk to us unless we pay some more on a recorded line. Just tell me that you're saying no. Okay, okay, well, we'll talk to you tomorrow. And the lady was like, Jimmy, oh, I'm so God. That's the reason we need some of us to focus on us.
Yeah.
And that paid me zero. I can't tell you how many tens of millions, probably $1 billion of help that I've given to my community. And I have to focus on some people have given their life. Some white people have given their life for our freedom. Some black people, many black people have given their life for our freedom.
Amen.
And if all I got to do is give my brain, you know what I'm saying? I'll give that. But all I ask is that we realize the responsibility that we have to the other person. Pay it forward. Pay it in. Don't just go and just, receive it out. Because literally, all I have to give is my knowledge and experience. I wish I had the money for the easy fix so that I could just give that family the money so they can hire a lawyer to get to their money. So when I tell y'all, you got to be careful with these trusts, people don't believe me. Okay, y'all got to understand what you're doing. And these people settled the case and everything without my people even being in the courtroom. It's unbelievable. And all we think about is what type of car, too many of us, what kind of car we drive, what your zip code is, your credit score. When there's little kids out there with those type of problems, I mean, I know we feel like our problems are real problems, but I cannot, allow the Dow Jones dipping to supersede that young man's need for braces on his legs because the school system broke his leg. And now the money is there for him to get his braces, and they won't. And his leg was broken at school.
Mm.
The stuff that is done that we have no idea that is done because, we're not listening. And everything that happens to us is not shown on the news. But you see the way that we reacted in that doc when we watched that man get beat. You know that there's a lot of pain in our community. Even the young man that jumped in the water, he was showing. He already knows the pain of that brother being beat on that ground. Then all I do, when I see it, all I do is see Fannie Lou Hamer being beat basically to death, died years later from the same injuries because she just wanted to go and vote. Mm. It's real, so my thing about I think that when we think deeper, then it should be a little bit easier to avoid going into debt because you want to go to Dubai. And now you got 2-3 years, you got to pay off that $5,000 loan. you know, because you wanted to post those pictures. No, those are the type of things that too many people are going into debt for. But they're waiting for the government to pay off their school loan. But you can't even get ahead that the government did pay off your school loan. Then you go and do something like that. That's not what the sacrifice is for. That's not what it's for. That's not what we're doing. That's why not we're not we're committing, our lives, to the betterment of our community so that everybody appreciates and realizes how we each represent. Like I think that we think like, oh, I can hide away into this little corner and what I do to ignore us doesn't matter. Like I remember one day going into the FedEx, and the FedEx people got my order wrong. So the lady in behind me, she decided to defend the guy who got my order wrong. She said, "You don't have to talk to him like that." And I said to him, "You got my order wrong and you want me to pay for it." And that's what she had a problem with.
Mm.
I said, "Sir, I'm not going to pay for this. You're going to have to get my order right." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to pay for the wrong order. So it's not gonna happen. And then she says that. And I said, of course she was behind me. I guess that was her way of saying, why don't you get out the way? And I said, do you have anything to do with this? And then the white man next to her said, why are you talking to her? Oh, oh, oh. So now like the person who I'm not even talking to doesn't work here now. I'm gonna say like this. And then the guy that works there, he doesn't even get involved. Like, don't say that to her. Like nobody cares. And look, there were people that looked just like me in the waiting room. They didn't say a word. I really feel like they could have beat me to death that day. And those corporate people like me would have let me get beat to death
Mm.
over talking back to the guy, I guess, complaining like at the car dealership that day when that man said
Oh, he
that I
doesn't want
was
to give
beat.
you a ride.
Yeah, the brother. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking about the boss saying that I wasn't supposed to, complain about them being rude and taking my money and not calling me when my parts came in. A basic customer service complaint that I have no right to complain about. Like, who says that to someone? And we don't realize, like, a man put on the internet the other day. He said, do you know like the amount of inflammation in your body because of holding things inside?
Mm.
So the majority of people that look like me spend most of their time holding everything inside. I'm not holding it inside. No, I'm going to express myself. Would never cuss at them, would never yell at them, but talking like this, I'm not allowed to do. I've even had black people, when I stand up for them, get mad at me. Like I have a customer now that they made an $18,000 error on her tax return because when I told her, recognize this on your taxes, that is your valid expense. And when she went there, they said, nah, because you didn't make enough income. So you can't write that expense off, but she was building something. And I said, that's the expense in order to create the income, but you had to do that construction first. That is a valid tax deduction on the Schedule C for that investment property. And the girl said, nah. So when she came to me, she owed $18,000 that she'd already spent 100 something thousand on making these valid business expenses. So because that lady said it, so then I said, get her on the phone. So she gets her on the phone and I said, it is your job as a tax prep person to report all income that was made. She said yes. I said she made income on that. She said, so I said, well, if she made the income and you have to report it, you also have to report the expenses associated with it, regardless of if it's a loss or not. So do you know that that client has not talked to me again?
Oh, really? Huh.
I said, Chelsea, call her. Make sure, you know what I mean, she's okay, because I did talk back to the white lady. I have had several. Well, you don't have to be like that. Okay. So you would rather pay 18,000 in air. Look, so what it is she told that lady, I know it. Don't worry about it. Because she sent the money in, and I said, oh no, she needs to do an amendment. So I'm telling that lady, you need to do an amendment. What you did is illegal, because it is. She didn't report the income and she didn't report the expenses. That's illegal. Do her return correctly. So that I stand up, I know she doesn't want to tell me that she told the white lady, that's okay. You can break the law.
Hmm.
Do you think they would let me do that? I texted
Yeah,
today. Everything okay?
we
You
are
know,
paralyzed with
haven't
fear.
haven't heard from you since we corrected the tax return. She'll want to tell me. I let her slide. So how many times everybody get mad because membership is $30, $1 a freaking day, but you gonna pay them 18,000 to the IRS that doesn't even want it. It's an error. I saw this commercial saying what I always say, that if you take your return, you take your money, you go in there, you take your money, you take your stuff, and you give it to that tax preparation person. This was a CPA firm that's going around. He says, pretty much you're paying too many taxes. Because if that's when you go over your taxes, when you bring that stuff to me, it's too late. Now that white man said that like it was rocket science. How many times have I been telling all of us that? Especially the members. I'm looking at the when I meet someone. Okay, well, let me see the tax return. Da 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 da. Oh wow, you shouldn't have done this. Okay, so we're gonna get this straight. Da da da. Now I'm gonna tell you. There are some that take advantage of that, but the overwhelming majority get out. Never use my brain. Never get help. I'm not. The men aren't guilty of that. The men are like, I'm winning. I'm winning. Let's do this. How you doing? It's just sad. You got to wake up. But so the sacrifice like then is sad because I would say probably Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, you know, a bunch of people that sacrificed for us. Ruby, the little girl who went integrating the schools and all that stuff, like risking her whole life. Sniper was probably out there trying to kill her. They brought him down, didn't even tell us about it. That these people that risk, think about how much we don't take advantage of it because we don't want to sacrifice being approved or liked. But how about choosing to be respected? Because I'm telling the person that did that tax return when I called, she said, that lady ain't saying nothing but the damn truth. That JB Bryan is smart as hell. That's what she's thinking. But I don't want to go through that trouble. So when she conceded on it, she said, all right, yeah, I know. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, we'll get it straight next year. Okay. Because you don't deserve to have that shit. Anyway, that's what she's thinking. If you had 18 extra grand to send in and you're going to let me do this to you, then that's what you deserve. I'm calling JB. Sad. I don't know, Mr. Jones. Mm. And someone's like, what did he say? Like, if you want to hide it from us, put it in writing or something.
Put it in a book.
Put it in a book. Look at you writing. Your microphone is tripping tonight. Yeah, but and you're a writer. I'm glad. I'm glad. Maybe if you weren't a writer, you wouldn't like me because you like she's always trying to talk about something that actually makes me think. You think how many times we just don't want to think? I remember this guy told me one time, he said, you just think too much. What the hell?
A lot of people told me that.
They told you that too?
A lot of people have said that to me.
We're just going to sit there and die alone, but you got me. I'll make sure I look good. We'll be like, thinkers in the house. We'll put a door out. We'll put a sign out front. Warning, thinkers inside. That is so sad. That's sad.
It's
That,
like a thinking person is a threat to a non-thinker.
mm,
That's true.
mm. Well, let's think about this for a while. Oh my goodness, you're messing up my buzz. Why you buzz? It's like 10 a.m. Like, what is that about? Oh wow, let's see, let's think about it. Like we, like why? Why can't we think? I mean, how much more powerful will be if we, do like, I mean, but that takes a certain amount of confidence to be around a black man that thinks, and he's not just going to settle for how big your butt is. Cause see, you know what I'm saying? That's your easy way, And then all of a sudden you come with this like, what's your opinion? She mad. Look, I got all that butt back there, and you asking me for my opinion. I put a lot of money into that. Isn't that sad?
I think you need to pay more attention to this ass. That's what she probably said.
You think too much. You haven't even told me you like my butt. You haven't seen me in 6 weeks. My butt has double the size. And you're sitting here talking about what do I think about the stock market or who's going to win president. We are not going to talk about that. We are not going to talk about Kenneth. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm leaving. He is crazy. Look, didn't you notice her butt as she's going out the door? You're like, wait. I won't talk. And she's like, click, close the door. Done. That's the way it goes. Mr. Walker's like, LOL. She is gone. You should have let her come in backwards. He said, girl, you came in the wrong way. I was thinking. No, it's so true though. It's sad. But we need to be, really put more thought into everything that we're doing so that we can accomplish more. Because like when I said, "Oh, I'm gonna sell my car," you know what I'm saying? Like really, it was funny because when they came out back with that crazy offer, and I was like, "That is outrageous." But I had never taken the time to think about it and actually sit down and research what is the resale value if I put this thing on the market. Well, when they put it on the market, they're gonna sell it to me for 5, and they're gonna put it on the market for 15 plus.
Amen. Capitalism.
Yes, that's just look. That is just a big word to give people an excuse for not being smart. They're smart. And people get mad at me when I say that, but it's not capitalism. Like when they say capitalism, then they want to separate it into like a black thing. I mean, a white thing. Like, oh, then they don't really think that it's, something that they could possibly do. But that's really what we all should be doing. Like, hey, you get something low. That's what I do for a living. I want you to buy the stock now. Because in 10 years, I want it to be worth more. But what do? We sell it because we got to buy something crazy with it. And then somebody else buys it and they make all the money. We're not, same thing. But then all we want to talk about is like flipping houses and this and that, staying in that same comfort zone. I was thinking the other day, like just, in exercise and all of this health issues. And if we thought more about what we eat, we wouldn't get sick. If we thought more about our lifestyle, we could avoid a lot of illnesses. A lot. But we just get numb. And then we put ourselves into this victim thing. Well, and like, ugly running my family. It's so sad. Ugly does not run in your family. Everybody just does the same ugly stuff. Try to blame that ugly on your mama. It's not her fault. That is not. No, that's right. That's right. No, but it is not true. Like, basically, we stopped saying like high blood pressure, but we replaced it with ugly. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you realize what you're putting on your people? It's such a bad habit of making excuses when you are born so healthy. Like, so many people are born so healthy. It's different if you're born and you have a particular problem upon birth. But if we're like every other than that, don't believe the hype. God will renew every cell in your body. He can do that. But all we have to do is detox completely. And detox is meaning we got to change the way we think first. Because our thoughts are connected to everything that we do. Everything that we do. We just don't want to think about the things that we do. We just want to roll with it. Like this, somebody told me one time, I was like, let's dance, And then she was like, oh, I can't dance, until I drink. So I gotta get a couple drinks in. That's not a true dancer. A true dancer just dances. I can dance anytime. I dance first thing in the morning and get up dancing. That's a dancer. I want to think about my steps. I want to think about the music. So if you got to drink in order to do something, no, that's something to think about. It wouldn't be okay if you had to drink just to get to work. But there might be people that are doing that. That's not okay. We got to think about this. When we know that the drinking kills blood cells, we know that drinking immediately increases your chances of breast cancer. Even one, not some, not moderate. It now says any level of drinking increases a female's chances of breast cancer. Any. You say anything about it? Crickets. Because we don't want to think about it. We don't want to think about how much that costs for you to get sick and how much it costs for you to not do something when now you have information that was not available to so many generations of women. Now we have the information. So what do? You're going to do the same thing and then say it's your mama's fault? When she did not have the information that we have. We got to at least try. We have to at least try. People don't like to think because it's hard. Yeah. It just seems too much like work. Mr. Jenkins, like we have to get comfortable with that though, because there's a whole strategy of life, and you don't live to be the age of Reverend Bozeman without having to think about your mistakes.
Ain't gonna happen.
You know, you
Yeah,
had to say, okay, that don't work. At some point, you had to stop falling into that same hole. We all have that same hole that we love to fall into.
that's right.
I used to love believing people's lies. Even though God was like, oh, that's a lie. He would go, oh, that's a lie, 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 lie. I have that. And I go, wow, I don't want to listen to that. And God said, at what point are you going to start listening to me? Because you know, I tell you every time it's a lie. My daughter was like, she had this friend, and the other day, my daughter was in the gym, and she said this man came up to her and he said, "You are the best looking woman I've ever seen in my life," right?
Hmm.
So she told her friend about it, and he said, "Oh, that's a lie." he said, "Oh, that's a lie. There's no way that you could be the best looking woman that he's ever seen." And she was like, "I really think that that's wrong. Like he should not have said that to me." And I said, "No, no, no, baby. Like let's just look at it. Like you know that he's your friend." And this goes on two levels. Like cuz I know both of you would tell me the same thing if I said, "Oh, wow, I really like this guy. You know, he walked up to me the other day." Like you said, Reverend Boatman and Mr. Jones, you know, you both tell me like, "JB, okay." You know what I'm saying? You might find a different way than a young man would figure out how to say it, but you still would try to get me to realize that, this guy's a liar. Like, because there's like, certain codes of like liars. And one is like, most likely, if you have like a code book for liars, like they give you extreme compliments. You know what I mean? You're the,
Hmm.
whatever. And so I was trying to tell her, I was like, I'm not saying that you're not, because you could be, but what your friend, your real friend, all the way that you've known forever since elementary school, what he's trying to say is, he says, don't believe the hype. That's all he's saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't believe the hype.
Because
Because
there's a
he's
new sexiest man alive every year.
yeah, 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 yeah. And I was like, you see, you just never know. Like he's just trying to protect you in his own man way. Like, and I was like, but that was funny because, when somebody's known you their whole life, it's like a brother. He's like a brother. He looks at her like a sister, like, what? You are not the prettiest thing he's ever seen. But and sometimes maybe I can relate to that because I'm to a lot of people, I'm that person. Like they want to believe the lie. And then I come in, oh nah, snap, oh nah, I'm a lie expert. They're like, well, yeah, if you're a lie expert, then why you believe lies? Well, that makes me a lie expert. I know what lies look like, and I know the caution signs of like, and then after a point, you know, you start deflecting liars. Liars don't like me no more. And most people are liars. So my number of likes are down. So Jesus said that though. The word says that. If the world is like loving you, and the world is like, you're the best person in all the world, like, you know what I'm saying? Then pretty much you're not doing what you should be doing. Because the truth, African proverb, says the speaker of truth has few friends.
My mother, when I was little, she did not allow my sister and I to watch Bugs Bunny, right? But one of my favorite cartoons from Bugs Bunny. It was like a game show, and the tagline was "People are phony." I loved it.
Are you serious?
I'm very serious.
That
People
is
are
funny.
phony.
Good
Yes,
for him.
I love.
You should look for that on YouTube. Cause like, cause I looked up Roosevelt Franklin off Sesame Street and I found it. The black guy off Sesame Street. I used to love Roosevelt Franklin. So a white friend of mine at the gym was like, I don't remember no Roosevelt Franklin. So I like found it. I found them because I was like, Roosevelt Franklin, he was like with all the numbers and at 8, he was like, I'm gonna eat all the collard greens off of my plate. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, see, now this is black. Like but Sesame Street, when we were growing up, was all about the blackness. It was like it was black. So they had Roosevelt, and everything he said in his numbers, was like he came straight from our culture. That was so powerful.
And
But
and
that is funny.
and
You got to look that up and see if that people are phony.
and my friend in South Carolina sent me this the other day. I was telling her about when I was little how Morgan Freeman taught me to read because he was easy reader.
Yeah,
He
it was
was
on
easy
Sesame
reader.
Street,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
No, it was electric company. It was the electric
Oh,
company.
oh
Yeah, she said
man.
she sent me the video link for that. I thought that was funny. Yeah, that
And
she
remember,
found it.
oh, she found him.
She
She
found it.
found him, and
She
you know,
found
you
it.
that's how you. That's why your voice is so smooth. Lady Love Kenneth Jones. That's what it is. The Morgan Freeman. Look. But wouldn't it be something? But it's some truth to it though. That every time you start reading, you sound like Morgan Freeman. Well, I was here to read out. He's going to the Morgan Freeman voice, and you were like, "What? What are you talking about?" And you have to record yourself in order to realize you're like, "Oh snap! I sound just like Morgan Freeman when I read." That is so cool. That would be funny because you're like, we go into different, different people, different situations. Like my daughter can always tell, like if I'm talking to somebody or if it's work. Like work, I have on this voice, but if I'm talking to somebody I like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like you go to, so she'll come downstairs like, what's that she talking to? Because I heard you in your I like you voice. And then shut up. Like, but you get it's funny, like we have like these different presentations. What it is. Like so you bust into your Morgan Freeman. But but we have to sometimes be bigger than ourselves in order to be all that God, plans for us to be in reality. No jokes aside, like when I'm trying to get myself to do something athletically, when all my life I was told, you're no athlete, you can't do that, like, all that. Like when I work out and I lift, world record holder, national record holder, whatever aside, my subconscious still remembers, what I mean, that I've never done this before. I've never had a chance to do this before. Like, and people who have done it a long time, like they have a different confidence and they have somewhere to go from. And it must be like that for people who grew up poor. And when they get money, they have like a fear, or what's the term that you call it, Reverend Bozeman, like when you imposter
Oh,
syndrome,
the
like
imposter syndrome.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that we could have the imposter syndrome about wealth,
Yeah. Get
and
rid of it.
somehow credit makes you feel a sense of success, but it's phony.
That's the truth.
It's Bugs Bunny style, you know credit is phony. Right. Like, so, because if you had to save up for it, you really should have more security. But instead, too often, we're finding our security in the presentation. I got approved for a house, and there was no money down. Your interest rate is higher than it should be because you didn't save up for the down payment. And then after you get in, you have this period of enlightenment that, wow, I should have waited to get this, because even if my refrigerator breaks, I don't have any money for this. And I bought this house based on child support. Shoot, my oldest about to turn 18.
Mm.
That's gonna be gone. My income going down next year, and they will approve a house on child support
Wow.
as long as it's court ordered. Isn't that silly? As if
Wow.
something couldn't happen. The non the spouse that's paying the child support could lose their job. Anything could happen. And now you've gone into debt based on that, and then you get mad at them because they get sick or something. That's so sad. And then they fussing and going to court, and then they got to go to jail because you got mad because you scared you're gonna lose your house, and and all your friends gonna see you lose your house. And the presentation. It's the phoniness of debt, the phoniness that credit cards just allow you to do. Credit cards, like, just swipe, 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 swipe. Phoniness that school loans allow you to do. You get the degree, but then you can't get a job. No, and we don't want to tell them no. And a lot of times our schools, our HBCUs are more expensive than, a community college. And we're trying to do the right thing, but our schools have to also do the right thing for us and start acknowledging, Black students and Black businesses and where they spend money too. So that when these kids graduate, they can do business with the school that they graduated from. I mean, what a powerful movement that would be, that
Mm-hmm.
we do a certain percentage of our business with our graduates. At least half. Because, I mean, our commitment is there. But then at the same time, the majority of Black students that get school loans don't start paying the loan back till after, and they go up to, research shows, like, till up to the third year, they still haven't made their first payment on a school loan. That impacts the institution that they decided to go to. So I always say that probably that guy Robert, who paid all those loans at Morehouse, he
Robert
didn't
Smith.
Robert Smith, he didn't have to pay them dollar for dollar. I bet he said, y'all weren't gonna get this money back anyway. So I'm gonna give you 50% of these balances and let's call it quits. That's more than they know they would have collected. Especially he did it within that time. And they said, okay, because we're about to hit you with the biggest audit in America. And they got him. Woo! So it's like, we have to, like, continuously be thinking everything. We have no right. Nobody has any right to turn their brain off. And everything should be thought through, and you should surround yourself with thinking people who are thinking about positive things, and then thinking about moving forward, thinking about the importance of rest, so that they're not always approaching you with where y'all gotta go. I mean, I believe that credit is rooted in, like, that fear of missing out. So I gotta do this, and I gotta do that. I gotta do, it's so sad. No, so a leading cause of divorce is financial stress. It's real. So I wanted to, because I was, a lot of this is about sacrifice, but something that I found when I looked up sacrifice, it was talking about a guy named William Pitsenbarger. He was 21 years old, and he got the Air Force Cross for saving soldiers wounded in Vietnam. And his parents were able to watch him earn the distinction on September 22nd, 1966. But he was killed 6 months later
Wow.
while rescuing um, about 40 to 60 men. He was still inside and still in Saigon, still in Vietnam. 6 months later. No. What are we willing to sacrifice? Like I thought about, like I believe it's Jesse Owens. I wanted to look up the guy's name because someone wrote a story about him, and when he was in the Olympics, there was a German guy, and the German guy was nice to Jesse and was giving him suggestions, and Jesse was looking for markers, and the German guy gave him a cloth and stuff like that. And we don't ever think about what happened to him, how he was ostracized because this black man beat him there,
Hmm.
you know, and that why were you so nice? Why were you so friendly? His family suffered, he suffered. And then and we think like we can't stand up for each other, because you might lose a job that we don't need to have. I saw on LinkedIn, and there was a sister that she was talking about resumes and how black names on resumes stop people from getting jobs. And what is surprising to me is that HR people keep saying that over and over and over and over. They say it like the problem is Shamika's name, Tanisha's name, Jamaica's name. Like they say it like that is the problem, not realizing that's an HR problem. If you have managers that are turning down people because their name sounds black, that is not something to put as a talking point for what kids need to do to change their name. That's it. And I was on a panel one time, and these people were telling them about it was about careers and blah blah blah, telling them the same thing to these kids. Live, a black man came out of his mouth and said that shit. I almost went crazy. I know he was like, oh man, this lady's mad about this. I said, brother, brother, brother. And he wrote books. He was like a writer, wrote black books and stuff. Like, this is the best advice you could tell them is to be liars? I said, why would I want to get a job? I said, now I'm going to tell you from somebody, like, because my name is Jennifer. And when I was working at the white firm, then I would just work a call list, and I'm good on a freaking call list. I can get some people in. So I call and I go, okay, well, all right, I'll see you on Thursday. Yep, Jennifer Bryan, and they come in. That ain't cool, the face that you get when they're not expecting a black person.
That's right.
Why in the world would you teach our kids to do that? You know what I'm saying? I want you to know I'm black. I'm black and proud. Like, what in the world? I don't want your damn job if you don't like black people because of a name. It's crazy. That's crazy. that's sick. The whole like, and then so finally a brother said in her comments, he says, he said that's why we need to be having our own businesses. And I put like he said, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a bigger problem here, and we need to be empowering, you know what I mean, each of us to have our own business. So I can, you know what I mean, I hire somebody named Shamika, and we're like sitting there like acting like they have to actually work. Look, Barbara said that they said this is something. I'm trying to get it come up, girlfriend. It's true about AA names they won't hire. My daughter's name starts with AA. And this HR person said that to me. He said, "You're not going to really name her that, are you?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Oh, no." I said, "Look, I own my own business. I named my daughter a name with meaning. My daughter's name means woman held in high esteem in the eyes of God. I don't care who y'all are. That's who she is." You're crazy? You can take your algorithm and put it up your butt. That's it. Only if you start state laws against it. Also, hair braids, natural. Many states now have crown law to prevent hair discrimination. The only people that discriminate against black hair are black people. White people love natural hair. I really believe it. Black folk are the ones who have convinced themselves. So they say these things. I'm telling you, it's always a black HR person. You know what I mean? Or a black person. I remember my dad saying that to me. Not a white person ever has ever, even the people on TV ever. "Oh, JB, we liked you before with your perm, but now we don't like you with your happy nappy." Whatever. They want my brain. We are doing that. You know what I'm saying? They're putting us in the position, and then we're sitting there being crazy stupid. That's crazy. You think they don't know that what our hair looks like? You know, me and this white girl were talking about that one day at Walmart because I was going in there to get a pick, and they didn't have any. I said, "Damn, this is a shame." She said, "I know." She said, "But nobody wants picks. All we have to do is have, regular combs." All she had was like regular combs, regular combs. I said, "Now that's sad because to do my natural hair, a different comb is more helpful." She said, "I get it, but most people don't want it, don't need it. And if they don't need it, we're not going to keep it on the rack." I get that. But what we'll do is go in there and say, they racist because they don't have Afro cones on the rack. Like, no, we're racist because we won't wear our natural Afro. They want to sell us an Afro comb just like they want to sell us any comb. We are the most biased people. But they're trying to make sure that we get what we want. And if we don't want it, they're not going to put it on the rack. They're like, put some more combs out there for the Negroes. They don't like those picks anymore. It's something else. It's something else. And then now, even when it's a natural, it's a weave natural. All of the afros on TV, overwhelming majority, are fake hair. Who does that? Even when we can, we don't. And in reality, to me, we can do whatever we want to do. We can do whatsoever you want to do. But you can't go in there being fake. You come in, you get a job, you got on a weave. You're going to have to leave that weave on while you have that job. But what do? We go in with it, and then we want to change it at our convenience. Now that's not nice. Just like your man, if you have something fake, he thinks you always going to look that way. Job, same thing. Same thing. We can't sit there and slack up. Like my mom said, don't start none you can't continue doing. So you go in there. You want to be natural? Go in there natural. But people have bought into you looking a certain way. And we think that we can do anything. Yes, I can because I have my own business and my customers pay my bills. Some customers might not like natural hair, so they go somewhere else. They have that freedom. But when you work somewhere, basically they own you. They're buying your brand, your look, your presentation, everything. That's what just like any other job in the military, you have to wear that uniform. Every job has its own culture, its own look, its own thing that they do. Some of these jobs, like they wear jeans and shorts and stuff to work. And you could be a blue suit person. So they're gonna look at you like you're awkward because you're wearing this blue suit and they're wearing shorts. You can't change their culture. But if you go in the interview and you have on the blue suit and they like you, but if they say, nah, you don't have to wear that here, and you still come in there with it, they're gonna see you as you're not a team player. Right, Mr. Jones? What they do, you want that check, we do what they do. That's why I left corporate America, started my own business, so I can talk about God when I want to. I can have AfroEconomics and I can focus on it. You can look it up, or you look up J.B. Bryan, and you'll see me and people I've done business with have had conflict with AfroEconomics. And I put that in there. They didn't like AfroEconomics. We parted our ways. This is what I do. I didn't sit there try to sue them, try to beat it down, whatever. I take my business, my production, my everything somewhere else. But we got to realize there's a sacrifice there. You decide that you're going to do what God has put you on the planet to do, you got to know there's going to be some sacrifice. That's pretty much, why we have Jesus. Because we're supposed to be trying to be Christ-like. And he had to make sacrifice after sacrifice after sacrifice. And the ultimate sacrifice. And then as we seek comfort more and more and more, it takes us farther and farther away from the joy and the peace that we've been promised. Because the comfort is not having delayed gratification, trying to get everything we want immediately, all of the credit cards, swipe, get hype. I should make a t-shirt with the swipe machine. Swipe and get hype. You'll ruin your life. Swipe hype. You ruined your life. Get right. Get it out of the way. Literally, we should take this seriously, right, Mr. Johnson? We have to take it seriously. A lot of people would start their own business, but they have so much debt, they can't do it. They're like, I can't leave this job. You remember feeling like that, Mr. Bozeman?
Oh, yes.
I would
For
leave.
sure.
Yeah, I would leave corporate America, but I got all this. I got, this and I just don't know, like, what people are doing now. When they feel that sense of just overwhelmed, are they just walking away? You know what I mean? Are they just given up because they said that, for the first time ever, credit card debt is over $1 trillion.
Oh,
And people are paying late more than ever. It's going up. The number of people who can't pay. So, and the Federal Reserve still doesn't trust that the economy is slowing down. They don't even use that as an indication. All they worry about is corporate. Isn't that crazy? Corporate earnings are okay because what? People are using credit cards. So that makes perfect sense to me. The wages are not up. People aren't making more money. More people are working, but people aren't making more money. What does that mean? More people have multiple jobs. So people working 2, 3 jobs. Like, when does it bust? Like, when does it just fall apart and people just start beating on each other at the dock? Stress. To me, beating on that man because he's doing his job. What? Look, did y'all see the video of the guy on the dock that got beat up, that came at him?
right.
What was the part about him throwing his hat off his head? The guy, they're coming at him, right? They're going to hit him, and he goes, what was that about? Like, it's on.
Hey, get it out of the way.
What is that? The hat stops you from being able to fight? I don't know. Is that a guy thing? Like, would you throw your hat first, Mr. Jones? Like,
that was the sign that it's go time.
It's on, right?
Go
It's
time.
on. It's on.
Go time.
Somebody said, what? What? Jeez. Throw the hat off. Don't throw the hat. Don't throw the hat off. Don't make me take my hat off. Mr. Johnson at Lone Wolf Firearms said I think he said that was the bad sign. It's on. Matthew 16. Thank you, Reverend Bozeman of Arise. That is YouTube channel for Reverend Bozeman. You can get a lot of good videos. Keep you calm when you're on the dock. So you want to throw your hat off. If anyone come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Amen. Amen. That's what he was saying. This is for God's sake. It's hope. I said, got me a hat. Don't make me take my hat off. That was kind of like a woman taking her wig off. Girl,
right. Exactly. Girl. Exactly.
Girl. It's on. I know one thing. I know that Lone Wolf Firearms was happy there were no firearms out there that day. They would have scattered that place real quick. But the good thing is, when you fighting with white people, the cops don't come with the guns drawn. Wasn't that nice? The cops just came and they just broke up a fight. But when we out there fighting, them cops be like, bow, 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 bring it up. Isn't that something? That's something to think about. Or do we not want to think? Lord, that would have been ugly. I know they were thinking, y'all better fight with white people more often. Because y'all fight with black people, that would have been something. They said, we can't come in here shooting. We might shoot the wrong person. No shooting. You stop this now. Stop it. Wouldn't it be funny if they should have brought a megaphone. Stop it. Stop it, all you drunk people. Stop it. And you apologize. You apologize. It should have been what was tripping me out though was that woman in the blue dress that was in the middle of all of it. I want her arrested. I want her arrested for being in the middle of these men fighting. You get knocked down or something. You know what
Didn't
I'm
she
saying?
end up on the ground?
I'm sure she should. I mean, that woman was kicking that man where he was on the ground and everything. Oh, she should be ashamed of herself. She was like, let me some, give me some, give me some. What in the world? Don't they realize that that can like kill somebody? You can beat someone to death. All
This is
those
true.
people beating on someone, that is something, that is creepy. And then to like get them, like they had to have been on drugs. They should have drug tested people. You can't, but that's what time is it when that little woman, that girl was like 100 pounds in the middle of a fight. What type of confidence is that? That is some serious confidence. That's like the lady at the Capitol coming in the window. She was so tiny. That girl was coming in that window with confidence. When they help, somebody needs to help them. Somebody needs to help them. That is misguided. I would never go through, I would break a window, climb in the window, and I definitely would know they're going to shoot me on the other side. They had no idea. Oh, wow. Lady was like, I'm coming in this window and they are not going to shoot me. There is lesson there. I was telling these people at my daughter's school, like there's lesson is a teachable moment. People need to be taught. You can't do that. Nobody's like teaching people that you can't do that. So stuff is outrageous. And if there weren't any cameras there, they would have called the police. These Negroes are down here fighting. What in the world? Can you imagine if there were no cameras? Those cops would have come in there, shot all the black people, then found out what happened later. Nobody would have believed it. There was a time such as that.
Yes, there was.
When that brother would have had to say, yes, sir, master, don't beat me. No, God is amazing. I mean, we really need to think about that. I just like there was a time I'd just be there and get raped that night. You know,
We know we come from a long line of warriors as a race. The only thing that's holding us back is our own mental imprisonment. And
amen.
that's beginning to break free. There, as I look around, I can see more and more of us climbing out of that bucket.
I don't see it.
You don't?
I see more and more of us intoxicated
Or with the marijuana.
and alcohol in any way that they can, fentanyl, and anything that they can to get away from the reality that rent is due. More and more, nobody wants custody of the children. More and more of our kids in foster care. More and more of our kids having to be raised by white people, and some people are realizing that these black kids are basically being used as slaves because the foster care system does not keep up with them.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see those black kids where when they started investigating, their two white moms just drove off a cliff with them? 3 black kids in the car. And the
Mm.
kids kept going to the neighbors saying, I'm hungry. They weren't feeding them. Do y'all know that's true, right? Y'all know about that? And it's so sad. That didn't even like, everybody doesn't even know about that. The little boy, he was featured on the front of a magazine one time. Now here he is being starved to death. And they have him on the front of the magazine because his mom took him out there so that she would look like, oh, here's this white lady with this little black boy. And his sign said like something, always took a picture with a cop when the cop had just beat someone to death. But he was really well known. That's the only reason that it stood out that he was dead, that he was the one that was featured on like the front of the Time magazine.
Hmm. No, I didn't know about that.
Oh Lord, it's terrible. That Atlanta show, he did kind of a episode about it. No. But it's but yeah, a lot has to change for us to get into healing mode and a different mindset mode. Um we'll have to start feeling a sense of responsibility and start like wanting to be like our best selves again. I think the number that are, getting out or about the same. Oh,
Uh,
yeah, someone else knows about it. Queen Howard was saying, yeah, the mother she sure was a police officer. Yeah, she sure was. Like, and we're so, like, okay, that happened. Like, we're almost like getting numb about stuff. And I believe it's because like, we don't have leadership. Everybody that's trying to be our leader is focusing on getting paid. No, and like if they're trying to build their organization and they got to get paid off building their nonprofit, then and then they want to turn it into a TV show opportunity and a radio show opportunity, they're not really a leader for us. And then we have the Congress people who we're constantly voting for and they're not doing anything. Did you see the other day that Tyler Perry, when Obama's birthday, Tyler Perry said, I wonder if Abraham Lincoln ever thought about that we would have that by freeing slaves, we would have a descendant of slave for a president.
JB, I'm just coming on, and I
What?
may have a little bit of a half of an idea of what we're talking about, but I've said this
Well, we're
before.
talking about sacrifice, but let me finish this. Obama was not a descendant of a
right,
slave. And Tyler Perry didn't even know.
right. He's from Kenya.
And it's actually, he's a descendant of slave owners.
Here is
But
what
Herman Cain said that when they were running. Herman Cain said, you know what I mean? I'm the only black candidate. But we're too busy like looking at political parties and, he's the enemy and this is horrible and don't listen to him, that we've been so misguided. But how much, changed and was enhanced and grew for black people under that administration. And we are like just aligned ourselves with a whole Democratic Party instead of creating our own party that is going to, and even Martin Luther King said we should not be associated with a political party. Nobody should take our vote for granted. Okay, Miss. Yes, Miss Davis. How you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you guys too. Hello, everybody.
Hi
I,
there.
I've said this before in one of the forums. I think that we help build this country. We build it on our backs, and we build it for no money. We were not paid anything for many, many years. I believe if they had known 450 some years ago, whatever that number is, we would have progressed to this point because this was not the intent. They never expected us to reach
Mm,
this part of quote unquote, let's say a pinnacle or whatever,
mm,
never expected us to reach this height.
mm.
Had they known that, I believe they would have left us where we were.
In Africa, you mean?
Yes.
But I believe that we're still the majority of Black people are still slaves. We
Yeah.
just work for them to provide for their system. That they, instead of it being where we work on plantations, we work in their businesses for way too little money. And I don't believe that 90% of the Black community doesn't really even matter to them. Like, other than like cheap labor.
I
And
agree. Yeah, and we've been
it's a,
socialized.
yeah,
We've been socialized to
some of
feel that
them,
way.
very few, like very few. Yeah, and we've been socialized by the few that do make it out, the
Mhm.
majority of that. So we have 90% that are, that are insignificant. We got 10%, and of that 10%, we got 9% of the 10% don't care. They're trying to separate themselves so much. So we represent about 1% or less of the Black community.
But even in that, if they had known this, even in that, because the intent was, we don't even want you to get to that point. To tell you what,
Yeah,
let's just leave them where they are.
yeah,
Move on to something different.
yeah.
That's what I really do believe.
I don't think they even think about us. They think about, like, I think that white people, rich white people, wake up and they think about China and China's impact on its investments, but they don't think about it. They think about exploring, going to the moon, how to get away from Black people, like, and to get farther and farther away from those who are not contributing to the betterment of their world.
Mhm.
And it will take a lot for us to ever be a threat, even politically. Like Obama, he was president, but ain't no white man in any position of significance worried about Obama. Not even Trump. Obama made Trump who he is by acknowledging him. So when he got a chance to acknowledge somebody, he acknowledged Trump. He could have acknowledged me. Trump got in there and acknowledged more Black folk than he did. Trump was like, bring that Black folk in, bring that Black man in, bring that Black man in. I don't think any president ever brought in so many Black men as Trump did. Now, y'all got to give him that one. Different type of Black folk, all different types, not just highly educated. Like Trump was bringing in athletes, people in no degree, ex-cons, and all these different Black folk. Because what they see all Black folk the same. We decided that there's elitist Black folk and low Black folk. You know what I'm saying? And we're though look, we have Black leaders that will say you can't take advice from no Kanye West, and he is richer than him. Because the white guy is looking at it as economic position, power. We're looking at Kanye don't have no degree. He don't have a PhD, so it don't matter. He not in my fraternity. But we're not, you know what I mean, really thinking about what would actually, like, seriously, Obama was in a serious position for economic empowerment for a Black community. Mm. Really, 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 really was. And I know, okay, yeah, you
Yeah, but he
represent.
wasn't motivated because he wasn't black.
Exactly.
It,
Exactly.
it
At
was
the
in
heart of him, he knows that's not me. I don't know, who they are. I didn't grow up with them. Like, the
right.
is different. It's different.
Yeah,
That's why I say that we look at like nappy head Clarence Thomas like he ain't black, but that brother's black. And at the core of him, he's black. And we should be trying to talk to him as well as anybody else black in those type of positions. Our leaders should anyway. They shouldn't just be like turning their back on him. Oh, he don't matter. I would, that he does matter. And his mama's black and his daddy's black. Like he's black. And if he don't know, you go and remind him. You black, I'm black. We're gonna work this thing through. We got more in common than we don't. And I don't care what nobody says. We're going to talk this about it. I want to tell you what's going on the streets. This is what it is. Because from the beginning of time, even in Africa, everybody is always going to have differences on how they approach things. But I'm certain that he's just as committed as making the world a better place as any other of us. He's just doing it his way, and we're doing it our way. So we don't talk. We'll never really figure out what we have in common. But we'll do that and show that kind of mercy to like a Donald Trump before we'll show that to a black man that we think is different. Or a Ben Carson when grew up on your same block. But if Biden says, well, I want to talk to you, and you just okay. Ben Carson, nah. They look at that. They look at that and they wonder, like the way that we attacked that brother in Georgia when he was running against the other one, and we're just like joking on him. That guy was you know,
Oh, Herschel Walker.
yeah, in the NFL and the Heisman and all that stuff. And if he ain't got no sense, that is because he took so many damn hits, and the man is poor, 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 and that's how he went to college. Not how many, what I mean, concussions he probably had.
He
We
had a
don't.
lot of concussions, all
Yes,
right,
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
of all sorts.
And do you know how many lies are probably told on him if we really knew the truth? Because we get told whatever they want to present to us. And a woman can say absolutely anything she wants about a black male athlete. And he has got to deal with the consequences. It's like Mike Irving was in a hotel recently, and they have video that he did not touch that woman. And she said that he touched them, and they have video. He had two white male witnesses and everything. I'm sure that man probably paid that woman out $1 million, $500,000, like $1 million, just to shut that down. A host at the hotel, she walks around the desk to come to him. She could have stayed where she was. And what's he, 60 something years old? And we talking about with Herschel, like stuff he did when he was young, or they say he did when he was young. But that, yeah, we got to like at least start like giving each other the benefit of the doubt. If somebody comes and they go, "Oh, JB, so and so," you know me. Don't just throw me under the bus. We know that's what tripped me out though. So many black men threw Herschel Walker under the bus when they talk just like him. He ain't got no sense. I mean, really, they're talking about what he's talking about. Like, what if you were up there talking about this? So, as long as the guy talks like Martin Luther King, all of a sudden he's like very honest and he's smart and he's all of that just because he can articulate. Do you know how many scandalous people are educated and speak well? If they speak well, they
He
didn't speak
speaks so
well.
well.
Yeah, they couldn't rob you. I would rather, like Jesus said, I'd rather a sinner than a hypocrite anytime. If somebody's just hypocritical and the things, but we have to deal with the consequences of falling for that, you know, where everything is about what it looks like. You know, this one has more degrees than the other one, so this is a better person, you know? When even the credit bureau doesn't care about degrees. They don't care if you're a PhD and you can't pay your bills on time, your credit is getting messed up. That's the way it works. Why is it different for us? If you do this, then you're wrong. And you're not worthy of our support or belief or vote. That is, you know, if you evict old people from their apartment for $25, you don't get my vote. No more better of two evils. No, when it comes to our credit, to our vote, to our life choices or jobs, like, you know what I'm saying? No, no more settling. We can demand more. No, but it's going to require thought and strategy and, you know, doing some stuff that might be uncomfortable for you, right? But I dare us to start getting uncomfortable in order to grow. You know, I imagine, you know, that a seed is in the ground, and for a seed to come out, for a seed to grow, for a tree to grow. So when you look at it, it looks painful, doesn't it?
Okay, JB, I'm gonna give you this. Okay, and you too, Reverend Bozeman, both of you
Okay.
guys. There are things that I do not particularly agree with either of you guys on, but I can appreciate the fact that you have made me think. Okay,
Amen.
whether I stand in the same parallelogram with you or not, I
Amen.
do think about it. Let
Amen.
me say that. Let me lay that on the line. Yeah, I may not like it. It may be bad medicine, but sometimes bad medicine is just what you need to give you a deeper insight and give you, you know, a deeper perspective and make you look at something another way. So I just wanted to say that to the both of you, and
Mhm.
especially to you, Reverend Bozeman, that forgiveness stuff, I'm still working on it. It's a
Mhm.
struggle.
I
Mhm.
understand. I
Yeah.
Mhm.
understand.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
had to say that. Okay.
Mhm. But that is not even true because you're one of the most forgiving people I know.
Hell no.
Yes, you are.
Oh, no, ma'am.
You forgive people before you even get mad at them.
No, ma'am.
Yes, you are.
Montgomery,
Yes, you are.
Montgomery, Alabama. Hell no. I don't forgive none of that. Okay. Mississippi. No. Don't forgive any of it.
Oh,
Hell no.
oh,
Not at all.
exactly. Like the recent Montgomery, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Uh-uh.
I know.
No, 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 no,
I
no.
know. You would have
No,
taken
no,
your
no.
hat off too.
Yeah. If anything, I wish I could have been out there in it if you want to know the truth about it.
Lord, I'm so glad you weren't with your little butt. I was like, oh Lord. But that little woman, you could have taken her though. That woman that was in the, and she was beating her, trying to get in between the men, like trying to beat them up too. I was like, Lord, what is she doing?
Yeah.
That is
Oh,
not
I
a
mean,
good look.
you know,
That is
hey,
not
look,
a good look.
I would have thrown a punch at some of the big ones. I wouldn't have cared.
Oh, you see, you and the guy for the little
No,
girl, exactly. He's like, whatever.
but no
Exactly.
forgiveness. No.
Girl, get up. Yo. And I would say Queen Howard was saying like the NFL and the NBA is a good example of slaves and masters. I don't think so. I don't think so. Um, I think that it's easy for us to pick on them. Yeah, you don't think it's easy for us?
That's the perfect example. I agree 100%. That
Yeah,
is the perfect example.
yeah. I just think it's because we pick on them. But
No, it's because they are that. They are exactly that.
no, because they're athletes and they are really a good example of branding themselves and making money for the effort that you put out. And yes, maybe the owners do make more, but that's the way it should be. The owners of businesses make a lot more money off their employees than the NFL and NBA. If we looked at it dollar for dollar, profit for profit, those professional athletic companies may take on a lot more risk with their players than the employers who have not had to increase minimum wage. Like again, that's that's us focusing on 1% when 90% is the problem. Like I
It's
was, like that NFL is like how many men even make it in there? You know,
another
1%. But and they get paid more. They get paid enough if they managed it. They can work a year and be better off than brothers out here working 10 years. Just 1 year. So that but that we don't realize that because they're so popular and they're in front of you. But I think there's a whole bunch of professional athletic owners that are losing money, are very stressed out. They still have to make payroll for those players. Those players don't show up to practice. They don't, so, and it's not a government entity where we have like people working for the government doing like the army. The army has a football team. They probably make a lot of money off that football team. And those guys that are playing football for the army making a fraction of what they make. Fraction. The NFL even has a pension. And then, and even though now they do accept some liability for the injuries, in all honesty, that's what you want to do. You know, as an athlete, I just feel that when you go out there, you're taking on a certain amount of risk. If I was sprinting for some professional team or something, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I want to do. And that's what I choose to do. You know what I'm saying? I realize that that job has a certain amount of risk and I could get paid for the rest of my life from my brand, even when I stop running, playing. They got it made if they do it right. They got it made in a way that the rest of the world doesn't see it. And even the guy that sits on the bench and never gets his head hit is still making a whole lot of money. And they got to pay him every day for just sitting there hoping that the quarterback gets hurt. The backup quarterback is getting paid. The backup for the backup quarterback is getting paid. You know this. Like that's a lot. That's
I
a lot.
s-
So
I see your point. I see your
I don't
point.
see them as the get over where corporate America they really get over.
But like Miss Barbara said, she posted one of the best books I've read about this subject, $1 Million Slave.
Yeah, but that's just because they hate.
No, that's because what it is.
It's
If it
just because
looks and
they,
smells like that, that's what it is, JB.
yep, but it's because they hate because they're making a lot more money than the real $1 million slave that's only getting paid 20, 30,000 in corporate America. But they don't want you to think about that. They don't want you to think about how much Amazon is getting over. They don't want you to think about that. They want you to think about that NFL player, that NFL, them, the owner, those entertainers. They're entertainers. Those aren't college students. Doesn't mean on a job. And they get to do what they love.
That's right.
That's amazing that they get to do what they love and get paid that kind of money for it. and they
It's
insured.
amazing.
They're gonna get that contract. They get a 5-year contract. They're gonna pay that thing out. All they gotta do is have some discipline. Join AfroEconomics. He's good. A regular brother, he get hurt. He working on a job, and it's still in the probationary period. Even with the government, the government now has like people on a 1-year probation. That's disgusting. That's disgusting, and we're letting it happen. So that during that 1 year, they can fire that brother for anything they want. 1 year, 90 days. That's the most a probation should be. How they started doing this 6 month, 1 year probation? Oh, that's crazy. They could just use a person and then just dismiss them. Then get another group and dismiss them. And then people got to fight to get workers' comp. That's disgusting. And then if that happens to a football player, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, I can't believe you let these players in. They go, that's the same thing that happens to the little man on the construction site. And they don't want to, oh, no, because you see what you did when you took your hat off. You shouldn't have had your hat off while you were drinking your water, and then they knocked you over into the elevator and stabbed you in the neck, and it's amazing that you lived, but no, we're not going to pay it. That's the stuff that happens. I don't know. You talking about slave? Let's focus on the 90%. Let's get better workers' comp. Let's get more black people with basic benefits. You know what I mean? Let's get black people with vacation pay. We are more likely than any other group to not have any benefits on our job. They're getting over. But it's more fun for them to write that book on that. Who wants to write a book about, corporate America's getting over on the average person? And the laws are getting looser and looser. And then they come out with this thing, last Biden talking about the Secure Act. And nothing in it helps retirement at all. It gives employers a tax credit if they automatically start drafting out of the employee's account. What the heck? So they get a tax benefit for taking your money. They don't even have to do a mandatory. They don't even have to do a mandatory match. And then they've loosened up this Biden, Mr. Anti-Corporate America. Now they've loosened up the top-heavy provisions, which means like before, like they were very particular about who, the people at the top benefiting from the retirement plan more than the average person. Now they've loosened that up because of the mandatory participation. What in the world? How does that help the person? So you're helping the guy who's getting paid the most because he's taking money from Mr. Jones, Miss Davis's account automatically. And they have to opt out. Now you talking about lobbyists are good? Now that is amazing. And then you go around and name it Secure Act. And you didn't even increase minimum wage like you said. You said you would make it a livable wage. The corporate loves you. So you can say what you want all the time, but it's what you do that matters. And you haven't done anything to help the little man. Not even a little man, the real man, the real woman. That's sick. But they want us to redirect. They want us to redirect and think about, NFL, they're, because it's so easy, because they don't think black guys should make that much money anyway. They want the whole thing to be government owned. They can take that money from that black man. There'll be no more Michael Jordan, no LeBron James. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Isn't that sad? And they convince you, then you know what I'm saying? And then they convince us to play along. They're the problem. They're the problem. Oh, really? It don't impact us one bit. All we do is get better entertainment. But you got these little teeny few black men that make it out, become NBA players, and then all of a sudden you want media to make this guy who's enterprising and doing all this with his brand, got his own sneakers, his own stores, his own restaurants. He did the damn thing. All of a sudden he's a slave. That's liars. It's liars. No, the slaves are the 90%, and they're getting over. Guess I said that.
It's called divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. I love y'all so much. Exactly. Look, look, look. So, Mr. Jones, you watch your sports and you say, they not doing it. They not hurting my man. Get your money, LeBron. Do that thing, LeBron.
Let me put it this way: for people like LeBron, Dwayne Wade, who and even Michael Jordan with the business enterprise, it's better for some.
Magic Johnson.
But Magic Johnson did excellent.
Oh my goodness.
I love
And
him for what he's
still
doing.
doing it. Got a job in the office too. Yes.
But if you look at it for before these guys, and nobody else had those opportunities, they changed the game. They changed the game.
They took the
But
opportunity.
when you look at football, let's look at the running back market.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why a black running back cannot get over $15 million is because a white running back he reset the market.
Some of them.
A white running back is the highest paid running back in the NFL right now, and it's McCaffrey. When he left Carolina and went to San Francisco, he became the highest paid running back. That was 2 years ago. So now every running back after him is black. So you got
exactly.
You got one at 14, you got one at 12, but the minimum wage now for a running back, $10 million.
Yep. Yeah, it was good. Hopefully you'll pull it up for everybody. And every time, and when those brothers renew their contract, I want what the white man's getting. That's what I'm getting.
That's what they're not allowing to happen.
Well, that's what's going to happen. They need to sign up with me. They need to sign up with me, because if it doesn't happen, that means that their agent is bullshit. That's all it is.
It's collusion.
And they use these people. They surround themselves with people that don't think they deserve it.
They don't.
That's what's really whack. Because that guy got it because he knew he deserved it. You know, that's crazy. It's crazy.
They're not going to
let that's our position. Running back is our position. That is crazy.
They're not going to let a black running back reset the market no time soon.
Yeah, he will. Yep. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's sick. But think about it, though. We got that quarterback thing, though. We got that quarterback thing, and Russell Wilson came in and got the biggest contract ever in history of the NFL. Now, we got to give us that.
Deshaun Watson is a genius because he sat out a whole year and got $203 million and didn't even play it down for a whole year, a whole season.
That's right.
Genius.
That's right.
Genius.
We're getting it. We're getting it, but that's a blessing. Yeah. So we change the way we look at things. The things we look at change. We're going for the 90%. We're going for the 90%. We're about to get that corporate thing. You know, they're going to get that. They need to have livable wages. Them corporations need to be buckling up. They need to be taking care of their employees. And we're letting them go. We're letting them get away with it. And the politicians are kissing the butt of the corporations. They're saying what we want to hear, but it's not happening. And we're not questioning anything. So exactly why did you call it Secure Act when there's no security in it for us? Nobody's asking that, then everybody needs to be fired. What kind of black politician would let that go? Who are you working for? because they on the corporate payroll also. Only reason you let some stupid crap like that go. That's crazy. That is crazy. Meanwhile, they want to give $10,000 to people in graduate school. Everybody get your MBA. But I'm all about the average person. Okay. And it goes up like household income. They give $10,000 towards school loans for people with household income up to like 200 and something $1,000. That wasn't for us, Biden. Just like the PPP loans weren't for us. Silliness. You know how many black businesses have gone out of business since COVID?
60% of black businesses.
Crazy.
60%.
But when it first, all the PPP and all these little majority business offices out there giving loans to people, setting them up to be gone. To actually, a whole bunch of people got arrested for doing that stuff. Letting everybody, when they knew those weren't legitimate businesses, mess it up for everybody else. That's sick. What in the world? We better stop. We better stop. Think this stuff through. There is no easy way. Everything requires thought. Everything that's worth doing requires some thought to it. No.
I got a question, JB.
Uh-huh.
When you say livable wage, if the cost of living goes up faster than you earn a livable wage, what is actually does a livable wage look like?
Yeah, no, because at the beginning of the Biden administration, it was $15 an hour. That was before all of this inflation hit. He promised that the minimum wage would come up to $15 an hour. So that has now, it's higher now. So the minimum wage probably needs to be closer to like 18. That's why people are working 2 jobs. And they keep saying, oh, employment is up, but they're not giving out the data about how many people have to work 2 jobs in order to live. It's crazy. And I work like, 24/7 in one business, but I work at, more than a person would do 2 jobs. Doesn't want to stay in business. So it's amazing. We're gonna learn.
That's me.
Right?
Yep.
Yes, indeed. Let's go, y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. Wonderful, wonderful night.
Thank you,
Y'all
teacher.
so good. Love y'all.
Love you too.
Think it through. Think it through.
See you Friday.
Think it through. Yes, indeed. See y'all.
Right.
Yeah, Barbara said minimum wage needs to be 25, right?
At least 30.
Yes, especially in California. She out there, so yeah. Thank y'all so much. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye. Think it through. Think it through. Take care. Well, I appreciate you, Wada. Awesome.
Love you. All right. Take
Love
care.
you more than that. Love you even more.
All right.
That's right. Oh. Thank you, Mr. Walker. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. So good to see you. Good night. Right back at you. Good night. Good night. I appreciate y'all. Call me if you need me. I'll put my number up there, y'all. But it's 1-844 JB Bryan. I'm gonna put it so we'll have it in this. Uh-oh.